Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Woodpeckers Deep Dive. My name's Jeff Ferris. Welcome to the Woodpeckers Model Shop. Today, we're going to take a closer look at Woodpecker's new Sandstand tilting sander base. I want to answer some questions that we've had on social media and on our customer service lines. Okay, let's get started. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about is how you decide whether or not your sander is going to fit in the Sandstand. It's super simple. I'm going to show you several different sanders, how they fit in, and what you need to check on yours. So the basic idea with the Sandstand is that we have a V-block on this side and a clamping bar on this side. And all we need our sander to have is some part that is round or close to round that we can put in that V-block. So you just drop that in like that. The clamping bar comes across. Want to make sure your washer is on the correct side. Drop it in like that and then just clamp it up. Want to keep your pressure roughly even between the two sides. So we'll just tighten one a little and then tighten the other one a little. Pretty soon it starts feeling like it's secure. It's just that simple. Now taking it out is just as simple. Let's take a look at that. On the left side, we have a slot on our bar. So all we have to do is loosen that just a little bit, pop it out like that, and then our sander's loose. Now the nice thing about that is when we come back, if we're using the same sander again, the bolts are almost going to be exactly where we need them. Now they've been making round-bodied sanders for a long time. Basically, it was one of the very first power tools out there. So somebody asked if we could give them a list of all the sanders that would fit, and that's just not practical. There's thousands of them that will fit and very few that won't. But let me show you exactly how to look at your sander and decide if it's going to work. All you need to do is find a round section on the body that isn't going to interfere with the switch. And then we need to take a measurement, and it really doesn't need to be terribly precise. All we need to do is take a look at that round section and see about what the diameter of it is. Now, if it's over 2 inches and under 3 5/8, you are golden. It's going to fit. Where you have a little bit more of an issue is on sanders like this Festool one that we had a specific question about, where it doesn't really look like it's round, but it's close enough to round to work. This one, if we take a look at this, measuring straight across here, we're just about 2.5 inches. Even though the sides are much narrower than that, it doesn't matter. We're going to clamp from here to here, and it's going to fit just right. So we're going to take the ETS 125, drop it in the V-block, bring the clamping bar across. Needs to be just a little bit more open than it did for that Makita. Now we're close, and we'll start putting a little pressure on there. As I said before, we're going to keep it balanced. When we get a little pressure on there, we're going to make sure everything is lined up the way we want it. It's got a little rubber nub on the back that we want to keep fairly close to centered. Just got that centered up now. Now everything is rock solid and we're ready to go. Now, one of the greatest features of the Sandstand is that the base is fully adjustable for angle. You can work with it horizontal like this, or anywhere between there and vertical. And that gives you a lot of flexibility on how you approach your pieces. So let's take a look at why you would want to use one position over another. Now, if I'm working with small pieces and I'm trying to keep each of those surfaces flat, that's when I like to have it horizontal. I'm going to set it up like that. We'll start it. So it's real easy to make sure that you always keep each of those surfaces flat. So let's take a look at some place where you'd like to have that at about 45. I'm going to take this, bring it up to 45, and let's say we have some pieces where we'd like to break that edge just a little bit. We're not looking for enough that you would want to use a router bit on it, but we just want to take the sharp edge off. So now I'm going to start the sander in a second, and when I do that, I'm going to hold the piece basically horizontal. With this at 45, I'll get pretty close to a perfect chamfer. Now we've got a nice soft corner there that's just about a perfect bevel. Now let's talk about using it vertically. We can go ahead and loosen the knobs, bring that up to vertical, and I want to show you two different applications for this. One is sanding contours. If I have a piece that has a big curve to it, it's a lot easier to see what's going on when I work this with that in the vertical position. Now, if we want to be sure that we keep that edge close to perfectly square, I've got a little trick up my sleeve I want to show you. We're going to put a table in front of our sander. So I have a little simple table here that I've made for my sand stand. Instead of having it clamped to the bench, we're going to mount the sand stand to this piece of 3/4 inch plywood. Holes for that are ready to roll. Just going to drop them in like that. And I have some knobs to lock it down. Now I have a little table here that I've built to put in front of the sander. It's nothing more than 4 pieces of plywood. You want to set that up so that it is just about the middle of your sander pad. I can't really give you dimensions because that's going to depend on the size of your sander, but just roughly in the middle of that, and then about at the same width as the base that you build. Then we're going to take our clamps, lock that down. Then we're going to adjust the angle until we have it perfectly square with our table. Now, when we do our contours, we're not guessing about the angle. We know that we're right on square. So I had some guys ask, well, what's the difference between that and a disc sander? Well, there's a big difference, and that is aggressiveness. If you're working with small pieces like this next to a disc sander, you're going to be taking a lot of material off, and hopefully not the tips of some fingers too. A disc sander is hooked directly to the motor. So that means that it is spinning and it isn't going to stop spinning. Now, a random orbit sander is a completely different animal. It's turning in 2 arcs. It's turning in an itty bitty arc like this and a big arc like this. But the big arc is what's called random. It isn't actually being driven. So when we turn this on, you're going to see that there's no pressure against it, it's spinning in a circle. But if I just put my fingers against it, I can stop it. Now that's one of those don't try this at home tricks. But I will tell you that the orbit, the circular orbit, is not driven. And what that means is your random orbit sander is much gentler to your piece and gentler to your hands if you ever get into it. So that's why I prefer this for small pieces over a disc sander. And one thing I really like doing with the sand stand is working on contoured pieces, like this spatula that I'm working on. It's very easy to just be able to see and feel your way along those curves. Now, there's a feature on some sanders that you may not know about, but you might want to check out. Better quality sanders, certainly Festool, Bosch, Makita, several of them have different pad densities. They have harder pads and softer pads. So when you're doing contoured sanders, if your sander has it available, if you get a softer pad, it'll conform around the curves. It's a very nice feature if you have that available to you. Hey folks, thanks so much for coming in today, spending some time with us looking at Woodpecker's new sand stand. I think it's a fantastic product. It's going to help you get a lot more out of your palm sander. Now, if you haven't yet, be sure and subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you know about every one of our great videos right when they come out. And if you enjoyed the show today, be sure and give us a thumbs up. And there's a link down below in the description that'll take you to the webpage. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time on Woodpecker's Deep Dive.